Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time it is yet another vlog. This time around, the majority of it is just going to be some unboxing, specifically from a box of goodies from my good friend and longtime subscriber, Jonathan, as well as showing some things that I picked up recently, and a lot of other stuff that people have sent me. As well as a little bit of my thoughts on a couple different things. In particular, I want to share some of my thoughts on the episode of SNL that just aired that featured the return of Eddie Murphy to the SNL stage, because he hosted SNL for the last episode of this current season. And I checked it out because I really like Eddie Murphy, and I'm a big fan of his SNL stuff. So it was something I was really interested in. So I definitely want to share my thoughts on that. And I don't know, maybe some quick thoughts on a couple trailers, and we'll just go from there. We'll just see how much I have left in the tank. So first, before I get into showing the box of goodies from my good friend Jonathan, I want to give a really quick and heartfelt shout out to another friend of mine, Mike, Mike M. And he surprised me with a couple Blu-rays. So he sent me Jumanji on Blu-ray. Really glad to have this because I did not have this film on Blu-ray. I was thinking about getting it on 4K, but I'm totally fine with the Blu-ray. It's one of those movies where 4K probably wouldn't really be the best for the CGI in this film, but the Blu-ray is probably going to look really nice. I've heard this is a remastered version anyway. Has ports over the same features from the DVD. And I'm a really big fan of this one. And I really like this cover art, too. I think this is one of those rare instances where Sony or some other company did a re-release with new cover art that actually is an improvement. He also sent me, speaking of 4K, he sent me Hook in 4K. Oh, I'm so glad to have this. I mean, I've been eyeing this 4K release for a while now. I love this movie. It's one of my all-time favorite films. Just in time for the holidays to watch it in just sparkling, sterling 4K and HD. Yeah, I'll probably check this out fairly soon, just to see it in 4K. And it's a absolutely gorgeous looking film, so it's probably going to be a really nice transfer. And I know this also has the deleted scenes. It has deleted scenes on it that were not on any of the other releases. Didn't port over the featurette from back in the day that was on a laser disc, which was like almost 30 minutes, but you know, whatever. No extra features, no interviews with anyone. I understand why you couldn't get Robin Williams, but Dante Basco, you couldn't get anyone of the Lost Boys. You couldn't get anybody to talk about this movie, one of the biggest cult classics of the 90s. I mean, there's so many 90s kids like me that grew up with this film and really love it. It has a huge following, and finally got a 4K release, finally got some features in the form of like deleted scenes, but nothing else. Probably because Spielberg doesn't like the movie, and if Spielberg doesn't like the film, it ain't gonna get jack shit for special features. But anyway, that's enough of that. Thank you so much, Mike, for this, and for Jumanji, and just for being a wonderful and great friend. And I wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. If I can say that, I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm flubbing my lines. I'm kind of just powering through stuff lately. But today was insane at my job. So it was one of those things where I got out 30 minutes after I was supposed to leave, and the line was still out the door. So yeah, I'm a little bit, let's just say, hungover from that. But I'm going to make the best of it. But anyway, yeah. Thank you, Mike, for sending me these, and also thank you for tuning in And thank you all for your support and your kind words and for just tuning in, period. I appreciate that so much. And I wish the happiest and merriest Christmas to all of you as well. So, anyway, now let's get into the unboxing from my good friend Jonathan. I just ripped open the box. I did not look what's in it because I wanted to make this a genuine reaction. I'm going to save the letter for later. I might even record a reading of the letter a little bit later and put it into the video. So you might see a little bit of a cut. Just one of those things where I don't want to do that while I'm kind of burned out. But anyway, I know there are some in here that I've already been made aware of, but other ones I don't really know, so it's kind of a surprise. So here we go. Just gonna put this on my lap and we'll just start showing stuff. Nice. Lock Up on Blu-ray. I know this came out in 4K. I don't need a 4K Blu-ray of Lock Up. I'm fine with the Blu-ray. Really love this movie. Incredibly underrated Stallone film. Great addition to my Stallone collection. One of the few Stallone films I didn't have on Blu-ray that I wanted. Oh, okay, alright. The 3-disc limited edition, if I could say the word, of The New York Ripper. I've heard a lot of interesting things about this movie, to say the least. I've never seen the film. I know a good friend of mine is not a fan of this film. But for the collection, sure, I'll take it. And that's pretty cool cover art, lenticular cover art. I think the knife is supposed to move. It's more of a 3D effect, which doesn't show on camera. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Nice. It's got a bunch of features on it too. Hey, you know, even if I'm not a fan of the movie, at least you know I got the features. So New York Ripper, yes. I know he told me about this one, and I was just. I have been waiting for this film to get a release on Blu-ray with the original color timing ever since I heard about the original color timing. Actually, I knew about the original color timing because the first time I saw this movie was on VHS, and it had the original color timing. And then I saw this movie on cable, and I saw it on DVD, and I was like, why does this film look washed out? Why does it look ugly? What is going on here? I don't remember it being this devoid of color, and that's because it wasn't. The director, John Badham, he didn't like the color for some reason and desaturated things to make it more look like a sepia tone photograph or whatever. So finally, we have the original color timing restored in an HD. And the film I'm talking about is the 1979 film Dracula with Frank Langella. So, yeah, I'm stoked. I'm so stoked to check this out. So it has the original theatrical version with original color timing. It has a new interview with John Badham and a few other people. It just says more. Audio commentary with John Badham, but that's on the version with the desaturated color timing. And there's an audio commentary with a film historian. They also feature the same documentary from the previous DVD and Blu-ray release, the revamping of Dracula, which is good. Yeah, Dracula, the 1979 classic. One of these days I'd like to do reviews of Dracula, the 1931 film, this one, and Bram Stoker's Dracula. I think that would be a fun triple feature. Multiple different decades of Dracula and different interpretations. Might even throw in the Hammer Dracula as well. Cool. Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse. Heard a lot of good things about this one. I mean, it won the Best Picture award for Best Animated Film last year, so, I mean, must be pretty decent. I guess I was just turned off on this film because of the animation style, but I got a 4K TV now, so I think it actually might work out pretty cool. But I'm looking forward to giving this a watch one of these days. I am a big Spider-Man fan. I'm not a big Marvel Spider-Man fan. I don't really like the MCU Spider-Man, but I will give home. I already saw Homecoming, but I'll give, what is it? I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. Is it's Spider-Man Far From Home? Is that what it is? The story of Yellow Dog. But anyway, Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. Nice. Yes. Crawl. This is on my wish list. Um, love this film. One of my favorite films of this year. Really glad I got the chance to see it in the theater, as well as Alligator. Yeah, I saw Alligator in the theater in 35 millimeter. That was a blast. I would say I still like Alligator more than Crawl, but I still really enjoyed Crawl. Uh, one of the best horror films of the year. For me personally, the best one that I've seen, at least to date. So Crawl, nice, and in 4K. Ooh, John Wick 3 in 4K. Awesome, awesome. This is one of my favorites from this year too, and I'm really looking forward to rewatching this because when I saw this in the theater, I saw it in a position that was incredibly uncomfortable in the corner of the theater where I had to crane my neck, and it was not the best experience. But I still really liked the movie because it was still a great film, even though the experience wasn't the best. But I'm looking forward to watching this again, along with the first two films, in the comfort of my own bedroom, with my surround sound and my 4K television, and just sitting back and relaxing and just getting blasted and blown away by the badassery of John Wick. Thank you. Oh, you know what? I'll take it. Shazam. The and also another 4K Blu-ray. Cool. Shazam. I've actually heard some decent things about this one. I know a good friend of mine, Matt Rambaref for Life. He thought it wasn't that bad, considering DC's recent track record. I'll definitely give it. I'll give it a fair shake. I know I'll probably end up liking this a lot more than Aquaman. And thank you. I can clear another file off my hard drive now. Thank you. Appreciate it. There's more? Like, he was not kidding. He told me, like, wait, just wait. You're gonna get the jackpot. I'm like, this is definitely the jackpot and then some. So we have Reservoir Dogs. Cool. I don't have Reservoir Dogs on Blu-ray, so I'll definitely take that. So Reservoir Dogs. Oh, The Doctor and the Devils. I've heard about this one. I know Freddie Francis directed it. Joanne Sands is in it. You have Timothy Dalton, who I really enjoy. I know this is one of the various films based on the I guess kind of loosely based on like the real true story of the doctors in the Middle Ages who went around, well, not in the Middle Ages, in the 1800s, who went around stealing corpses. Nice. Definitely looks interesting. Worthy addition to my collection. All of these are worthy additions. Like, nice. Detective Pikachu. I saw this in the theater as well, and I enjoyed it. That was a fun movie. It has some great visuals. This is definitely gonna sparkle and shine on my 4K. Oh, Dumbo, the original. Okay, I haven't seen this since I was a kid. Oh, Rescuers and the sequel. I haven't seen these since I was a kid either. I remember liking Rescuers Down Under quite a bit, actually. I used to watch that one a decent amount of times. Nice, just in time for the holidays. Love this movie. Scrooged with Bill Murray. Great. Okay. Man. Nice. The 3-disc limited edition 4K restoration of Maniac, the new Blue Underground release. This has one new interview with the director, I guess some new featurette and all the other features, and a 4K remaster. I've heard mixed things about this 4K remaster, But you know what? I want to see it for myself because I heard nothing but praise for the Ghostbusters 4K remaster from various different outlets, and I saw it and I wasn't impressed. So as far as I know, people could be shitting on this transfer, and it might be pretty good. So nice, Maniac. It's a great film too. Oh, it has a soundtrack CD. Cool. Then we got another anime, Royal Space Force, Wings of Hanamais. I like sci-fi. Interesting. One of these days I want to do an anime marathon because I definitely have enough anime. Nice. Okay. All right. Child's Play, the remake. Nice. Awesome. I know my friend Matt really was surprised by this, and I know a lot of people have been curious to hear my thoughts on this one. Now I have the remake, and I can give it a watch sometime. You know, I'll take it. I will take it. I will take it. Hellboy. The new Hellboy film with David Harbour from Stranger Things. I'll give it a fair shot. Trailers look like shit, but I'll give it a fair shake. Okay, all right. Avengers Endgame. I still haven't seen Infinity War. I don't even have Infinity War. You know what? But it's the spectacle. It's the spectacle of the year. So, definitely got to check this out sometime. And it's a 4K release too, so sure, why not? Now I need to keep on the lookout for Infinity War. Oh, speaking of Spider-Man Far From Home, story of Yellow Dog. Here's Spider-Man Far From Home. Cool. I'll give this a fair shot because I do like Mysterio. I've always wanted to see Mysterio on the big screen in some capacity, so that'll be pretty cool. And then we got nice, the Marvel Super Special of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Okay, so that is it for the box of goodies. It's the absolute jackpot from Johnathan Lindsay. Once again, thank you, man. This is just unbelievable, and I mean that. It just leaves me speechless. It really does. It's just an incredibly humbling thing, and I'm gonna really try to make a conscientious effort to review more of the films that you sent me. I got a couple Silent Night, Deadly Night films reviews that I'm gonna be hopefully posting pretty soon, and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, thank you so much, man. And thanks to all of you who've sent me anything in the past. And thanks to all of you for just supporting me. I mean, all of it just means a lot. It really does. It's just one of those things that it really does put in perspective that there are people out there that appreciate what you do. And no matter how small of a speck you are in the YouTube landscape, there are people out there that appreciate what you bring to it, and whether it's through gifts or through kind words and comments or just watching the video, these are all things that are just amazing in equal ways. So thank you all. So anyway, here we got some other stuff. So if you hear anything in the background, my mom's home, so she's watching some kind of show, so I apologize. I'm not going to ask her to turn it down. Anyway, I got some Texas Chainsaw Massacre Blu-rays from a Facebook group. So I got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, the Scream Factory release. I wanted this because it's a new remaster. I have the Arrow video release, but this one has some extra features that are not on that, and it has a new print of the film, and I really like the film, so I wanted to definitely get my hands on it. And for the same price that I would have paid to get the first film, to get the second movie, I got the third film, Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. The last Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie that I remember liking in any capacity. I don't know about getting New Generation on Blu-ray, like, or Next Generation. Sorry, whatever it is. It's one of those things that I guess if it's cheap, I might get it. Then we have some Blu-rays from the source that shall not be named, who does amazing work that I greatly appreciate. Once again, he had some delays and some things that happened, but he more than made up for it, as usual. So I got Ernest Saves Christmas on Blu-ray. Good addition to the Christmas movie collection. Black Christmas, the remake, the unrated director's cut in a really cool red Blu-ray case. Then we have The Keep, which I'm hoping Shout Factory does a official release of this sometime soon, but I'm not holding my breath. For right now, glad to have this. And Breakdown on Blu-ray. Love this movie. Once again, I would love to see an actual official release, but I highly doubt it. So, huge thanks goes to He Who Shall Not Be Named. Then I finally got my copy of In Search of Darkness. My name is somewhere in the end credits because I did back the documentary. I've heard mixed things about this. And to be honest, I'm a little upset at the people who made this, and here's why. As soon as they started sending out links for the digital download, they started unveiling exclusive, limited edition versions of this documentary with different hosts, like Elvira, and extra exclusive content and footage. And they didn't mention any of that to any of the backers who initially backed this documentary. If they did, I didn't get the message, and it wasn't that clear, and there was no way for you to upgrade or anything like that. Really fucking shitty and shady, if you ask me. One of those things that just screams of a money grab. And yeah, I would have, if it was up to me, I would have liked to have had the Elvira edition, but it seems like they didn't really offer that option. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but either way, I'm glad I have it, and I'll definitely watch this sometime, but not anytime soon. I got too much stuff on my plate. So then I got FYE, traded in a few things, got a few stuff. I also got some FYE bucks, which I'll probably use a little bit later. Thankfully, I still have an FYE near me. I know a lot of people out there don't really have FYEs, and you know, that just sucks. A lot of people, you know, they don't even have any place for them to shop anymore other than Walmart. Like, even Best Buy's selection is weak. So it's one of those things where I guess I just appreciate what I have while it's there. I appreciate the fact that I have an FYE that I can go to. Just like I appreciated the fact that I had a buybacks that I could walk to from my house. But I can't do that anymore because they went out of business. So it's one of those things where, you know, you don't know what you got until it's gone. And I think there are people out there that in the collector fan base that lose track of that sometimes. Even if you're having a hard time finding stuff, like, keep going to the same places. Keep going to places where you can actually browse for movies in person and not on your internet browser. Because it's something that, you know, before you know it, could be gone. So we have House of the Devil, which I've heard some good things about this one, and got it for a good price. Like, this is one of those Blu-rays that goes for a lot more than $5 on Amazon right now. And then I also got the Men in Black trilogy, the 4K set. I really like the first film. The only way to get the first film in 4K is to buy this trilogy set, which I'm okay with. I mean, upgrade all 3 films. It comes with the Blu-ray, so it has all of the original features contained on the Blu-ray from the previous releases. And I checked out Men in Black. I didn't watch the entire film, but I checked out bits and pieces. It looks amazing. Like, this is the best the film has ever looked or sounded. It is a huge upgrade over the Blu-ray. And I liked Men in Black 3. So 2 out of 3 isn't bad at all. And it was a pretty good price. So Men in Black trilogy. I also really like the look of this. Um, all the individual cases or cardboard that have the original poster for each film. So then you have Men in Black 2. Then you have Men in Black 3. I think there's like another version out there that has like extra goodies or stuff. I don't really care about that. I just wanted the movies in 4K. So now I got them. So yeah, Men in Black trilogy. One of these days I want to review these as well as international. Just not anytime soon. Finally bit the bullet and got the Goonies on Blu-ray because Warner Brothers is not going to give this film the respect or the appreciation it deserves with feature-length documentary. They couldn't even put the fan-made documentary on any of these Blu-rays. They had multiple anniversaries that have come and gone, and they've done jack shit for the Goonies. This doesn't even have a 4K release. I mean, Warner Brothers is lame when it comes to handling the Goonies. The Goonies is like one of the quintessential 80s movies for a lot of people. Like, for a lot of people, Goonies and Ghostbusters go hand in hand. Why the hell does the Goonies have the same features that it had on the DVD? And ultimately, yes, a better transfer than the DVD, but still, like, why does it have that? I'm not counting the out-of-print edition, which had, like, a board game, a reprint of the souvenir magazine, and a bunch of other useless junk. Like, actually have features. I mean, Josh Brolin seems to love I'm getting so worked up I can't even talk. Seems to love to talk about the Goonies. So does almost everybody else who was involved with the film. Why can't you just get those Goonies, like the original Goondocks crew, together and just talk about the fucking movie? Like, what is the holdup here? Don't get it. Just like I don't get the holdup for why Warner Brothers hasn't released a special edition of Beetlejuice. I finally bit the bullet once again and got Beetlejuice on Blu-ray because I love this film and I wanted it on Blu-ray instead of DVD. And I gotta be honest, this is a pretty cool looking steelbook. And I got a good deal on it. That being said, bare bones. It has the same features that were on the previous release, the same transfer. It took fans of Beetlejuice to kickstart or Indiegogo a documentary for us to have any kind of features on this movie. This is a film that Michael Keaton repeatedly says, just like all the people who worked on the Goonies for the most part, who have all repeatedly said they love the film, they like talking about it, they show up for the reunions at anniversaries and meet with the fans. And with Beetlejuice, Michael Keaton has said many times over, this is his favorite film role and his favorite film. Pay him the money, however much it is, Warner Brothers. Stop being lazy and cheap. Pay Michael Keaton the money that he's asking for to sit down and talk about Beetlejuice while he still can and while he's still on this earth. Because I'm sick and tired of these studios being lazy and not getting actors in the studio because they don't want to pay money, because they don't give a shit about preserving their legacy or what they brought to their films and the stories that they have to share, which are priceless. But enough of that tangent. Still, this is legitimately a really nice looking steelbook, despite the fact that the disc is completely bare bones, and also has a bare bones look to it. But as you can see, it's a nice looking steelbook. So Beetlejuice on Blu-ray, and the transfer is definitely an upgrade over the DVD. But still, like, come on. Got a good deal on this. This is the Mirror Mirror collection. This is an out-of-print Anchor Bay DVD box set with all 4 Mirror Mirror movies. I think Dark Force Entertainment just released a Blu-ray of the first film. This is the only way that I know of as of right now to get all 4. So, as a collector, I saw a good deal, and I rarely ever see it for sale anywhere. So I decided to pick it up. Then we have some DVDs, some random stuff. These are ones I got from the same thrift store in the last video, but I didn't show them because I put them somewhere and I forgot. But we have Noises Off, which I'm really curious about because look at this cast: Michael Caine, Carol Burnett, Julie Haggerty, John Ritter, Christopher Reeve, Denholm Elliott. Yeah, Noises Off. Directed by Peter Bogdanovich. Sorry, Peter. Then we have The Ladies' Man. I got it for the collection. And I've actually heard some decent things about this from some people when it comes to SNL movies. A lot of these SNL movies are terrible. It's Pat. I mean, and I saw the trailer for this, and it looks like it might be a fun movie. I mean, it's not no Wayne's World or even on that caliber. It looks like it might be on the same level as something like Coneheads, which I didn't mind. Then we got a horror film called Forget Me Not. Got it because it was cheap and the concept kind of interested me. Also, it looks like it does have some practical effects somewhere. So I always look forward to that. And then I got Forbidden Planet, the 50th anniversary 2-disc special edition DVD. And then this was a really good deal. This is excellent. This is an excellent deal. It's like $4. This is out of print. I could not believe FYE was selling this for this cheap, but they did, and I snagged it. The Best of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. Now, this doesn't have all of the episodes of the animated series, but it has a lot of episodes on 2 discs, and it's the only official release out there of the animated series. I know that there's a couple episodes that were on the previous box set for Bill and Ted. I think they might have been ported over for the Blu-ray. But I'm a huge Bill and Ted fan. I am really hyped and really looking forward to Bill and Ted Face the Music. I'm trying to not be hyped, but I can't help it because I love Bill and Ted. Even though there are some really bad Bill and Ted stuff, like the live action TV show on Fox in the 90s. Like, that is straight up garbage. But, yeah, glad to get my hands on this because I enjoy Bill and Ted. And I know for the entirety of the first season, Alex Winters and Keanu Reeves actually voiced the characters. So that's really cool. So, yeah, that's all the DVDs and stuff. So since that took me 30-something minutes, I am going to take a little bit of break. You're going to see a quick cut, and then I will be recording the letter reading, and then I'll throw in a couple of my thoughts on some of the new trailers, as well as a little bit on Eddie Murphy's stint hosting SNL after 30-something years. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, once again, thank you to everyone for supporting me over the years in this channel, and thanks to Johnathan and Mike and he who shall not be named for the gifts. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy this next part of the video. Hey there, welcome to the letter reading portion of this video. I'm gonna go through this letter and give my thoughts on what is contained within it. So once again, huge thanks goes to Johnathan for the gifts. He says he hopes I enjoy them. I definitely will. Thank you once again. Talks about the Maniac 4K Blu-ray 3-disc set. Says that it should be an upgrade over the previous Blu-ray. That's nice to hear. Another perspective that says it is an upgrade and not a downgrade. It says a New York Ripper should be an upgrade to my DVD. It's an upgrade, period, because I didn't have the film. At least I don't think I do. Maybe I did. Maybe you sent me the DVD in the past, or somebody else did. If I do have it on DVD, like, that's something that Does not ring a bell off the top of my head right now. Um, he says when I get to the 1982 horror films, I should review it. Yeah, sure. I mean, it would definitely be on that list. Says he hopes I enjoy Spider-Verse and mentions Wings of Haname's Royal Space Force. He talks about how it's like Interstellar meets The Right Stuff. That's an interesting combo. And he says that it even got a theatrical release in some theaters by Manga Entertainment, and even got some critical acclaim by Roger Ebert. That's pretty cool. Um, he says he agrees on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot, Elm Street, new movie, and Scream 5. I didn't mention the Saw reboot because the organ donor or whatever it was called, I just didn't really interest me. Um, I agree with everything he said here about Robert being the only Freddy Krueger, diminishing returns, and everything like that. Talks about how canceling The Hunt is inane for political reasons and how politics need to get the fuck out of Hollywood. I 100% agree with that. I remember a lot of people were saying, oh, don't worry, The Hunt's still going to get a release. It's just going to be direct to video or a streaming. And it still hasn't been released. There's a chance, folks, that that film will never get released. It's just going to be written off for Universal's taxes or some shit. Or is it Fox? Or what? It's Universal, I think. Which is bullshit. Because I actually thought it looked like a decent movie. Talks about a BoJack Horseman episode that reminded him of The Hunt called Thoughts and Prayers. I actually haven't seen that show, so I can't really say much about that, but okay. It says great review of RoboCop. Talks about how he saw it in the theater with his mom and dad and his other family members. Talking about the comic. Talks about how he got the 2-disc limited edition Blu-ray. Says he played the NES game and the arcade game. I don't think I've mentioned this before, but I actually did play the one of the RoboCop arcade games one time. I think it was RoboCop 2, or that might have been the first one. I'm trying to remember, but my memory's a little hazy on it. Because I was at like, I think it was bowling alley somewhere, or some other place that had like arcade games, and RoboCop was there, and I played that for a bit. I wish I had footage of that or some kind of like photographic record, but trust me, I did actually play RoboCop, one of the arcade games. Either it was the first one or the second one. Yeah, it's pretty awesome that you had cool parents who let you watch R-rated movies growing up. I didn't really have a whole lot of that. Although I did watch Aliens, and I did see Alien in the theater with my stepdad, and I did see Die Hard, and so there were some exceptions. Backdraft is rated R, if I remember correctly. I think it is. Is Backdraft rated R? Or is it PG-13? No, Backdraft is rated R because it's got some violence in there that's a little too intense for PG-13 or a PG. Yeah, I believe it is a rated R film. It showed a lot on cable though. So, yeah, it is. It's R-rated. There's also some swearing and stuff like that. So Backdraft was another one of those rare exceptions. It says, since I'm a RoboCop fan, can I believe Leon from RoboCop was Gordon in The Killing Joke? I completely forgot about the fact that Ray Wise voiced Commissioner Gordon in that. Did a pretty good job. He mentions Twin Peaks, mentions Kurtwood Smith and some other things he's been in. Talking about how Bob Morton, Miguel Ferrer, apparently was Sean Yu in Milan. Huh. I had heard that he was Deathstroke in Teen Titans. I knew he was one of the first officers. He was the first officer in Star Trek 3 when they stole the Enterprise. Talks about how Robert Docuy was the Doctor in the Two-Face 2-part episode. He was in Kolchak the Night Stalker. Dan O'Harely, yeah. He was in Halloween 3, but he was also in The Last Starfighter's Grig, yep. Ronnie Cox was in Spawn, yep. He was Billy and his father. Ghostbusters Afterlife looks better than Ballbusters. I have to admit, it's a passion project for fans. Yeah, it does. It does look better than that. I agree with all your points on the Ghostbusters Afterlife. I said since I got you the Hellboy reboot, I hope next year sometimes you do Hellboy reviews. Yeah, sure, absolutely. Talks about how Lock Up should be an upgrade over my DVD. Talks about how Shazam is one of the better DC movies. Talks about how it's awesome. I'm done with my term now. Yeah, I'm done with my. It's more like semesters. Forgive me if I'm shining, because I work at a craft store during the holidays, so I got fucking glitter in places. So forgive me. Talks about how it was a good review of Rocket Man, his favorite film of 2019 as well. How many stars do you honestly give Predator and The Sandlot? The Predator? Probably a half star, because that movie was just absolute ass. The Sandlot's a 4.5, 5-star flick for me. I really like that film. That talks about how he hopes I enjoy Dracula and its restored color-corrected version. Talks about a bunch of other reviews that he would like to see. Yeah, I do want to redo the Die Hard films. I'm definitely still going to do RoboCop, the series, as well as a video on RoboCop 3, the Blu-ray by Scream Factory. And I'm also going to share my thoughts on Prime Directives and the remake again. But that's not all going to get done before the end of the month. I'm going to try to, when I get back from work today, I'm going to try to, which by the time this is uploaded, I'm probably back from work. But I'm going to try to do some Christmas-themed videos. So they'll be available for Christmas for you to check out. So what are my plans to review in January? I don't even have any plans right now. I'm not thinking that far ahead. Just going to get done with what I have right now. Talks about how in February... talks about how it would be nice to do My Bloody Valentine, maybe Eddie Murphy movies or stuff like that. Okay, alright. Says he hopes I enjoy the new Child's Play. I hope I enjoy that too. Yes, I did see what was on the back of the RoboCop label saying sleek, stylish, smart. Yeah, I don't think it's any of those things at all. It's about how Wonder Woman 1984 looks better than the first. Then talks about cats and Taylor Swift and CGI monstrosities. Says he hopes I continue the Crypt reviews. Yep, I definitely will continue my Tales from the Crypt reviews. I stopped because I didn't want to get burned out on Tales from the Crypt. Kind of like why I'm taking a little bit of a lull on RoboCop, so I don't get burned out on that too. Talks about how he enjoyed Dolomite. Talks about it would be nice to do Alien reviews. Yeah, I would like to do more new Alien reviews. I don't know if I do a Rise and Fall of the Alien franchise video, but if I feel like it, maybe. And yeah, I definitely heard about how Fox wants to make a Predator series, and Disney wants to do another Alien film. Which, since Disney owns Fox, Disney wants to do another one of each, and I agree with you, Jonathan. It's definitely beating a dead horse. So then he says, I hope you enjoy these gifts and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Well, you too. Thank you. So, now that I got through the letter, I want to give my quick thoughts on Eddie Murphy's recent stint hosting SNL after multiple decades. I liked it. I thought Eddie did a good job for a comedian and an actor who had not been on stage doing live sketches for 30 years or more. But he definitely was rusty. I have to be honest. This didn't really showcase why Eddie was one of the best stand-up comedians and also one of the best cast members on the show in the 1980s, did not show why Eddie saved this show. There were snippets and bits that showed the same Eddie. And I get it. He's older. He hasn't done live comedy in forever. But I still don't know if that's an excuse for as many flubs as he had in this episode. Like, he had like 5 or 6. Like, almost every sketch that he did, he flubbed a line in. And for me, that just kind of became distracting. At first, it was a little bit funny because, he was cracking up, and then the cast is cracking up, and then you're like, haha. But then he kept doing it, and then you're just like, it took you out of the sketch, to be perfectly honest. That being said, despite the flubs, despite the rustiness, it was a fun episode, and it definitely was infinitely times more watchable than a lot of modern SNL is. Like, I only was interested in this because Eddie Murphy was coming back to SNL. I wasn't interested in it because it was another episode of modern SNL. Modern SNL to me is incredibly cringe-inducing and difficult to watch, and for the most part, a lot of the things that I don't like about modern SNL weren't really as present here, because this was essentially the nostalgia hour for Eddie Murphy's SNL's characters, with very few original sketches. And honestly, I would have liked to have seen some original sketches, a little bit more original sketches, because there were original sketches like the Elf sketch, and Eddie was a part of their repeated baking competition sketch, which has the same repeated gags over and over again that are beaten like that are just completely just beaten over your head and are like beating a dead horse. I get it. There are repeated sketches in SNL. That's a known thing with reoccurring characters and stuff, and repeated jokes and gags. But this one just gets old after the first 2 sketches that you see of this. You see the formula. It's already tired, and the same thing happens. Oh, the cake is ugly. It doesn't look anything like what the art shows it does. Oh, one of the cakes is possessed and speaks in tongues and lights on fire and it starts moving around. One cake is done pristinely and is amazing, and the judges just ignore it, and another one's just offensive. Like, it's just fucking annoying at this point. How many fucking sketches like this has this modern SNL done? The same fucking holiday baking competition sketch, and sometimes it's not holiday baking; it's just a regular just baking competition. And they can just adjust it for any holiday. It's lazy and uninspired. The episode didn't start off good, though, with an terminally long 8-minute cold open sketch about the Democratic debate or whatever. God damn, like, what is going on with Saturday Night Live? Another reason why I don't watch a lot of SNL is because of this. SNL, for some reason, has decided to go all in on politics lately. Like, that's all they have, with the repeated appearances by Alec Baldwin's Trump and Trump jokes and all these other things. I mean, an 8-minute cold open about the Democratic debate? 8 minutes? It was like the longest sketch in the entire show was the cold open. Why is the cold open 8 minutes? Why is it 8 minutes? There's no reason for that. And it wasn't funny. It just went on way too long. And I'm not even a political guy. I don't even have a side. And it's blatantly obvious that SNL is leaning to the left. They are leaning so much to the left that they've already fallen over. But anyway, I get it. In today's age, you gotta find something, a reason for people to tune in to modern SNL. And I know SNL had done political stuff before and was not well known for that. But it just seems like every week it's a politician, it's a political sketch, it's a political cold open. It's just like, God. But then again, it's coming from somebody who hasn't watched that many episodes, because every episode has seemed to catch, has these poorly written sketches and these poorly written political parodies, and it's just like but there was a great bit when Eddie comes on stage and has Dave Chappelle come on stage as well as Chris Rock, and that was really cool. And that was really cool to see all three of those legendary comedians on stage. Keenan also comes on stage as well. Um, and there were some genuine moments in the episode that just killed me, that were absolutely hilarious, and it was great. It was a lot of fun to see Eddie again and see him in his element, to see Gumby. I'm Gumby, damn it, Gumby. So Gumby, who showed up in the Weekend Update segments. You also got to see Buttweek. Oh, te. uh, So you got to hear him sing again for a parody of The Masked Singer. He started with "Wookin' Panub in all the one paces, Wookin' Panub." So it was fun to see Buttweed as usual, but I thought Buttweed was dead. um, and there was also a Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood sketch, which was good, although Eddie did flub a line there. And I would say my favorite sketch though was the Black Jeopardy sketch, which featured Velvet Jones. Velvet Jones is great anyway. Be somebody, be a hoe, and so he's appearing on Black Jeopardy as one of the contestants, and his answers all have to do with him selling his products. So of course he starts out with the Velvet Jones School of Technology, and then the Be Somebody, Be a Hoe, and then he shows his new books, and he makes a... This one killed me because it was pretty controversial and ballsy, and I gotta give SNL huge props for actually having the balls to make this joke. So he's being offensive to today's sensibilities because he's talking about women being hoes and how they can make money for themselves as a high-paying hoe. And Velvet Jones says this really poignant thing about how women should be respected and whatever. But then, it's like, all right, and Keenan praises him for that, and then it's like talking about how they don't have to strut their ass for cash, and then he actually shows up and is like, ass for cash. So it was like a book that he has called Ask for Cash. I don't think that's the exact punchline for that particular one, but what I'm getting to is there was a Me Too joke, which was great, because Keenan's telling Velvet Jones, like, this is the age of Me Too, like, you might want to dial it back a little bit. It's like, you like hoes? Me too. That was fun to see Velvet Jones. The Elves sketch was good, even though Eddie flubbed some lines there. It was the final sketch. Eddie's energy was really on point and great in that sketch. The best sketch though was the one that was pre-recorded and pre-taped, that wasn't done live. The Home for the Holidays sketch that showed Eddie Murphy being the head of this family gathering during the holidays, and he's having a toast to the family and to the occasion, and he's saying all these eloquent, wonderful things, but then there will be quick cuts that'll show the reality of the situation, where he's talking about how he's really grateful that his family is here in his home, and then it cuts to him arguing with his wife about, why do they have to be here? I'm not gonna spend all of his money on this food. So it was hilarious, and then it just repeated that gag throughout, but it was really clever and really well done. You got to see Eddie's manic energy on display, and it was a nice joke and a nice pre-recorded sketch, and it really did hammer home a part of the holidays and a part of the holiday season that a lot of people can relate to, the drama aspect of it, the reality of how like shitty things can be, but despite that, you know, you appreciate and cherish the moments you have with your family, despite the fact that you might want to kill them. Or you know, when you're preparing everything, or they're coming over for Christmas. It is in a lot of ways for a lot of people a lot like a horror film, like that scene in Christmas Vacation when the relatives arrive to the house. But yeah, I would say if you're a fan of Eddie Murphy, this is definitely worth a watch because it will make you laugh, and it was a fun time. I will say this though, I think some critics are overvaluing this episode or saying it's like one of the best ever. I think it's a bit much because of like what I said. Eddie flubs a lot of lines. The original sketches tend to fall flat. The cold open is way too long and not funny at all, and it's just one of those things too where it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of meat to it. It's a whole lot of, hey, remember Eddie Murphy? Hey, remember Eddie Murphy's SNL characters? It's a lot of remember berries, and after a while they start to taste a little sour. I don't think this is really going to have a long lasting legacy. It's an episode that I'm glad I saw, and it made me laugh a few times. But I gotta be honest, I've seen better writing from Studio C, and because I've actually been watching Studio C for the first time on YouTube and playlists. So I watched the whole first season recently. I'm currently watching the season 2, and Studio C is absolutely hilarious. Like there are some moments in it that some sketches that don't work as well as others, but that's to be said for any sketch comedy. But there are a lot of sketches I've already seen that are funnier than even any of the sketches I saw in this episode, even with Eddie Murphy. Um, but yeah, it's not an episode that to me is right up there with the best, but it's definitely worth a watch. Now I'm gonna give some quick thoughts on some trailers real quick. Um, First, I gotta find the link. While I'm looking for the link, I am going to share my quick thoughts on upcoming Blu-ray release. In March, there is going to be... Sorry, excuse the typing. Excuse the awkward pause here.
New in theaters this weekend.
Excuse that fucking annoying fucking advertisement. New in theaters this weekend. Fucking Movie Clips always has this autoplay ad from this fucking douchebag nobody wants to hear from. Anyway, so yeah, Kino Lorber's going to be releasing Cannibal Apocalypse with John Saxon. So that's going to be coming out. It's going to be a 4K restoration. It's going to be coming out in March. It's also going to have a new retrospective documentary that has interviews with John Saxon and Giovanni Lombardo Radici. So, and a couple other people involved with the film. So that's really cool. I'm looking forward to that. So in terms of trailers, I already talked about Ghostbusters Afterlife, No Time to Die, Mulan, Free Guy, Wonder Woman 1984. Don't really give a shit about The Grudge, whichever version of The Grudge that it is. Top Gun Maverick, another good trailer. Visuals looks absolutely amazing and awesome. And I like the fact that the trailer still didn't give away what the overall plot is. I still don't know what the movie is about. You know, that's kind of a novel concept nowadays with trailers. Saint Maud, that was an A24 film that actually looked pretty compelling to me. I liked the idea. It looked like it had some good actors. Looked like some characters that were at least interesting and potentially likable. It definitely looked like it was going to subvert some expectations. And I like the fact that it's as controversial as it is. It's essentially portraying a character who is trying to have some sort of religious experience, some sort of meeting with God, or some sort of stigmata of some kind, is actually dealing with something much more sinister than that. And that's kind of an old idea. It's been done before, but the way that it's being handled and the way that it's shown in this trailer looks like it's definitely going the blasphemous route, and you know, I know some people are like, oh my god, you know, that's it's blasphemy, shame on them, but that's something that I appreciate because it's willing to go there, especially in today's day and age, which is where you have a lot of people in social media and other outlets that are deeply devoutly religious. And maybe this will be one of those movies that'll turn some heads like Exorcist did back in the 70s. But we shall see. The teaser trailer for Quiet Place Part 2 did absolutely nothing for me. This is just a completely pointless teaser trailer. It's just Emily Blunt walking in a forest for 30 seconds. Like, why did you even make that? A couple trailers though that weren't pointless, and the ones that I'm going to end this video on. The Woman in the Window, which I really was pleasantly surprised by this trailer. I hadn't heard anything about this movie, and then I saw this trailer and I'm like, this looks like a nice homage to Rear Window, but it's still doing its own thing, from the people who worked on Gone Girl, which I really liked. Great cast. Looked like it had some really slick and stylish direction. I really like the concept of an agoraphobic who sees something happen across from her, you know, in the building across from her apartment, to somebody that she knows, but then there's all these twists and turns and this thing thrown in there that because of these pills that she's taking, she can hallucinate things. So it's all one of those things where, did she really see what she thought she saw, or did she see something else? And it looks like it might be a really solid suspense thriller. I also was surprised by the trailer for a drama comedy called Downhill from Fox Searchlight, which has Will Ferrell and Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and it's not a straight-up comedy. It's a disaster movie that's less about an actual natural disaster and more about the disastrous deterioration of a relationship at a dramatic and stressful point in a family's life while they're on vacation. And I like that concept. I think it shows a lot of potential, and I'm really curious to see Will and Julia work off one another. And I'm curious to see a dramatic take on a disaster movie, where the disaster itself is not the avalanche, it's not anything like that. The disaster is the relationship deteriorating, and now Will Ferrell is trying to do everything that he can to fix things before it completely falls apart. So he's trying to save his family and his relationship. So I think there's a lot of potential there, and I'm curious to see Will Ferrell's dramatic acting. That's another thing, because I honestly think he did a pretty good job in a film called, what is it, Stranger Than Fiction. So I think I'm curious to see him stretch his acting muscles here. And speaking of muscles, Christopher Nolan's trying to flex his directorial muscle with Tenet. I wasn't really that impressed with this trailer. This trailer did nothing for me. John David Washington, no offense, seemed like a really bland lead with no personality, no charisma. Robert Pattinson, did he even say any lines in the trailer? This is one of those things where this looks like a movie that has characters that are bland and boring and don't really have much of a personality or charisma or anything for me to latch onto or give a shit about. And the overall plot, it's, I guess, something involving the ability to control time or rewind things, or put life in reverse, and something involving death, but not really. Whatever it is, and then there's like World War III or some other fucking thing. It was a confusing trailer, and I'll give it credit. It didn't really explain what the plot is, but it just seemed to me like Inception again, with different actors and a different cast, had a similar look to it, and the only difference in terms of the visuals, the trippy visuals, is the fact that in this, things are going in reverse instead of bending. Instead of the world bending in Inception, with buildings bending inward and all these other crazy things, and or things spinning around. This time it's just stuff going backwards. It just seems like the same movie to me, but with stuff going backwards instead of bending. But that's just how I view Tenet. Maybe it's better than it looks. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, thank you for watching once again, and I hope you all have a merry and wonderful Christmas and a incredibly happy holidays. And as always, thank you for your cooperation, and I will see you later. See ya.